by word and wonder. My name. Remember it well.
Hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. You may or may not notice that there's 2 doors completely set and affixed to the storage unit. Yes, I finally have all 4 doors on, and I've designated this corner over here for Ganesha, and I am using the color red. I have been talking a lot about the color red, the Muladhara chakra, which is at the sacral or the root, and Ganesha and the road opening. I've talked about the lunar phases, and I made a post. So if you are interested in following me, when you subscribe, hit all for the notifications and you'll see my community posts. I have been posting that the beauty of Ganesha and several of the deities really is that it is a lunar based system, and that Ganesha is for several different lunar phases of the moon. It is primarily considered for the waning, which is a time when we're supposed to be looking at clearing away obstacles, getting rid of bad ideas, bad habits, health issues, anything we want to push away or ask for assistance in knowing what it is we need to do in order to, do things better going forward. Have things work easier and better for us going forward. I've also talked about receiving assistance in the form of discounts under the waning moon, which is about things that are diminishing. So that's another interesting aspect of what can happen under the waning moon. Now, when you think about the moon, if you're not yet really working a lot with the moon, it's one of the first things that you learn when we're stepping onto the goddess-based path, the nature-based path, the earth-based spirituality path. We work with the cycles of nature, and so does Hinduism. This has to do with Sanatana Dharma, Vedic system, Hinduism. And they learned many thousands of years ago that things move in cycles. They start, they have a middle, they have a peak, and then they have a wane, and then they have an ending, so to speak, and then there's a new beginning. Just as every day when we go to bed, go to sleep, that day dies. And when you look at it that way, it's not frightening. I think it can maybe ease your mind for people that are freaked out about death and change. So today on this podcast, I want to talk about the full moon. I've been talking about how I've been on the temple path now for 2 years. Come around May 15th, the time of Holi, it will be 2 years. Now, I don't go every week. I don't go twice a week. There's been a couple of months that I have missed this year and last year due to the weather, and the temple's not right around the corner. But I have learned enough to practice at home, and I've demonstrated some of the things that I do at home. In this system, clearing away obstacles is like the first step, whether it's emotional, physical, financial, career rise, whatever. And this is what Ganesha represents. Ganesha has helped me clear away a lot of bad memories related to my childhood. I've been able to understand them and see where they come from. the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, there are silver linings, but human beings do need healing from certain things that have happened, whether it was psychological or it was physical and psychological. So I was raised by a parent who had both psychological and physical abuse on a regular basis until she ran away. She left home. She enlisted in the Air Force. And she married a very good, kind, loving man. He was an empath. So when you are around people that have extremely dysregulated nervous systems, we don't yet fully understand what that means, I don't think. I'm just beginning to really understand more of what that means. We can't obviously sit around all day long and do nothing, but we do have to learn how to manage our life emotionally, physically, financially. And this is what the waning phase of the moon does. We all live under the moon, and when you work with the cycles of nature, you're going to be working with the wind instead of against the wind, not having so many obstacles in trying to start something when it's just not the right time to start it. As I said in my last podcast, you don't want to start something under the waning moon and the dark moon either. You want to rest. You want to meditate. You want to think about your goal for the next month. Now, I've been dealing with obstacles regarding some of my online activities. I had a problem with Thinkific and I didn't know it until I found out. I've had another problem with Etsy and it's not resolvable. They don't want to close my shop. I've paid what I owe them. I closed my shop. They haven't done it. It's just become extremely problematic for me. This is one of the reasons why I went to Ko-fi, everybody, Ko-fi. Now, I know it's not a place where people think of where to go to buy handcrafted products, but I've been making handcrafted oils for several years. I had an Etsy shop in 2022, and that is where I started showcasing and making my oils. So I'm going to be keeping it a lot simpler this time, okay? I'm going to create premium oils with sandalwood base. And the story I'm going to tell you of the puja that I went to on Friday, the full moon, stay tuned because it's very, very prevalent in this particular spiritual practice. So I wasn't sure if there was a full moon to go with Ganesha or not. There might be. I don't yet know. Now, of course, Ganesha is friends with Vishnu. Ganesha is the child of Shiva. Vishnu represents Jupiter, the great benefic, and also the one who balances and keeps order. This is where justice comes in. The justice card in the tarot. This is what this means. Fairness, correctness, and remedy. Anytime that there is something out of order in a state of not rightness, Jupiter wants to bring the remedy. When you go to court and you have a complaint, you're seeking a remedy. I need a correction for what's been wronged me or in your life. When things are not in a state of rightness, eventually Jupiter is going to have something come to light to bring things back into a state of rightness. And as I said in my last podcast, you want to be able to learn how to work to recognize these things and correct them before they get worse so that you can make it less difficult, if that's possible. Do it sooner rather than later, right? So in this way, we are getting accustomed to working with the rhythm of nature, and we know when to start things, and we know when to let things grow, and then we know when to rest. So on this growing moon, I began to think about restarting an Etsy, but the problem that I've been having with trying to update my bank information was just causing me to not want to do it. And as I got on tonight, it showed everything was still active. My canceled listings were active, and I had an order. Needless to say, this was extremely disheartening, and I tried for an hour with ChatGPT. To really no avail. I finally found a place where I could just tell them, this is pretty unbelievable. In my case, in particular, when you close a shop and they tell you it's closed, you pay the balance, they tell you it's paid, it'll take a couple of days to close your shop, and then it's not closed. It doesn't say, okay, you're fine, but you have an order. If you have an order, which I didn't, it will not let you close your shop. It said I had a balance due. So I paid it. It's a mess, as far as I'm concerned. So, I've decided once again that it's time for me just to do my own thing. That seems to be the theme of my life. I am a number 1. Even though my life path number is 5, my birth date number is a 1. So I'm kind of supposed to be taking the initiative myself, setting things up for myself, really things like that. It has more to do really with leadership and initiative. So ChatGPT has helped me with that as well. Along with the Ko-Fi, I'm having this little one-page website to showcase my most precious oils to me right now, the premium quality oils made with the sandalwood and charged. I have charged my Ganesha oils, and I'm going to charge them again in front of the speaker, Bluetooth speaker, playing the mantra. And that's going to make them much more premium. And this is a real thing, guys, okay? This is a real thing. I have a friend who absolutely loves my Psychic Eye oil. She's on her 3rd bottle. She uses it to play it with her singing bowl. She'll dot her 3rd eye, her throat, her wrist, and then she'll play her singing bowl. I don't know if she has an oil warmer. She might be lighting a candle. Now, my energy actually is bigger when I'm more relaxed. So when I'm stirring things in the cauldron, I'm relaxed. I'm thinking about the intention. I'm adding the ingredients. I'm going back and checking it from time to time for a couple of weeks. Put it on low for a few hours, right? And then I do that for a couple days. And then I'll turn it off, see how it smells, maybe put it on medium for a little while longer, then put it back on low for a couple more days, and then maybe just put it out in the sun for a couple more days. So I do it for at least a week. This is the order that came up on my Etsy shop. Someone tried to order my Psychic Eye oil. I was very upset about it. I mean, it could be a lot worse for sure. This person is not necessarily going to get their money back right away. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm sure at some point she'll get them on her back, because not only can they not pay me with the account I had, but I might have to get a lawyer and send them a cease and desist, guys. I sent an email which a real person is supposed to be able to read and get back to me. We will see. We will see. But yeah, I can't keep having people ordering when they refuse to close my shop. And ChatGPT said, don't do any more. Don't do any more clicks. Don't try to close it again. Don't try to do anything. We've done everything we can to try to get through to them that there's no way to verify a closed account. You refuse to help me. What am I supposed to do? So I got my own little website to showcase my oils, and then you can click on these oils and it will take you to my coffee account for now. So whenever you buy an oil from me, you are supporting me. I do appreciate your support. I have made almost nothing since I have been on YouTube. I do have my ebook and my Dream Recall course on Ko-Fi. Those are digital products, and you can get them for less money than if I was to put them on somebody else's website, whether it was Etsy or Thinkific, or even Amazon. My book is on Amazon, but it's less money at my Ko-Fi account. So I spent a year on that. I'm keeping it. Now, the oils that are not the premium oils, such as Ganesha and my Love Potion oil, and then I will have the goddess oils with sandalwood as well. All of the other oils that I have made, I've got 2 or 3 bottles of them. And when those are gone, they're gone, okay? Because I'm not going to have 13, 15, 20, 25 different choices of oils to buy. And to be quite honest with you, I would rather make more money for my time and my energy and my effort. I am sharing my energy. Oh, back to that. My friend Tanya connected to me one day. It was pretty amazing. She had been using my oil, and I had miscalculated how much money that I needed for the summer. And I was aligning myself with devotion once a week with Shiva at the temple, and then I decided to do it at home. And I'd say within about 4 to 5 months, as I've mentioned before, I had developed a strong alignment through my devotion with the Shiva, and had stated that I desperately needed an extra amount of money. This was before I did the devotion and the communion. And I'd say within about 5 days, my friend contacted me and said, I felt, and I don't know how she described it exactly, I just felt very strongly, almost heard like words in my mind, give Sabrina X amount of dollars. And now this is a friend that I am compatible with. And she's married and she's got a husband and a child and a business. But she does take time to sit and play her singing bowl, and she's been using my oil. So when I say ritualized, even charged or consecrated, guys, there is positive energy that goes into this with my intention, okay, to connect. So we connected psychically because she was using my oil. And she was able to more strongly feel and perceive exactly the amount of money that I was needing to make it through the next month. So that was pretty amazing. Now, this is the power of devotion or communion with anything. So you need to be careful about what and who you align yourself with, right? And you need to learn about it. You need to do your homework and figure it out. So, as I've said, this is a system that's about 10,000 years old at least. I'm sorry, the cats are playing. Of course. When I'm active, they're extremely active. It is dark out now. Get away from here. You don't need to be next to my table and bump in my ring light. Okay? She's like... All right. Excuse me. The full moon is something that I have not really worked very much with. I've said before, I'll be honest with you, I have been instinctively led to work primarily on the waning moon. There was a boatload of things I needed to figure out how to clear out of my life when I was entangled with the man that I was married to and living with. He had a lot of issues himself, very similar to my mother. And as I continued to work on myself, return to meditations and affirmations intensely, really. And especially working at an altar in a sacred space. That is very, very powerful, because there you have a focus center to exit the mundane and enter the non-physical. And what you put there is what you're going to be aligning yourself with. All right, so I got on the website and I finally saw that they were having regular pujas again. Friday is typically a goddess day. It's associated with Venus. But this is a full moon that we just had on May 1st on a Friday. So it was really celebrated with an avatar of Vishnu. Vishnu himself, I don't think, really comes down in his form. He sends an avatar. So this avatar, I'm not quite sure what the name is, but this puja is called Sri Satya Nara Naya. When you chant to Vishnu, it's Om Namo Narayanaya. But I'm trying to figure out how to say this name. Satya Na Ra Na Ya. Wait, Satya Nara Naya. This is a ritual for the full moon, the blessings of the full moon. You have worked with Ganesha under the waning moon, and you have maybe worked with Ganesha on the dark moon. You have rested, you have meditated, you have thought on your goal for the coming month. You have analyzed what it was that you needed to let go of, or you've been meditating on being guided to know exactly what it is that you need to let go of. And sometimes this comes in the form of knowledge from another person. Somewhere, I mean, it could even be on the TV. You hear a word. And suddenly you realize, okay, maybe that does apply to me. I've heard the word before, but I didn't think that it was applying to my situation. Now I think maybe it does. So then you meditate on that. You have that information. You've got new, something that relieves you of what it was you were dealing with. Now you're resting. And it is kind of a never-ending story. But Now we have the waxing moon where you're starting to work on your new goal, like I have been here. And preparing to order sandalwood, okay? And that's coming very shortly. I've already got 3 bottles ready to go. If you want to order, my Ganesha oil that I have created is infused with the sandalwood. And the intention, I've charged it, and I can charge it some more. And maybe you have seen the animation that ChatGPT made for me. I kind of cut my hair tonight to try to resemble the animation that ChatGPT made of me holding the bottle. I love it. It's great. I posted that on my community posts. Now, Katha is a story, and so that's in the name of this puja. And Vat or Vata is just the exercise of really going through the service, okay? When we got to the point of reading the stories, I'll tell you in a nutshell, it was about working with the cycles of nature, and in this case, the moon. This is a very moon-centered lunar cycle tradition. And so, in reading the stories about the blessings that can happen when you are acknowledging the moon phases and aligning yourself with them. When you want fullness, when you want abundance, which is what the full moon represents in part. It can also represent the culmination of things. I have had dreams under the full moon cycle, which can be 3 days before the onset and 3 days after, of the past, the present, and the future of something significant in your life that could be happening. So it does act as a mirror, and it does work with both the past, the present, and the future. A culmination. That's another aspect. And has to do with dreaming and psychism. But this was about understanding that if you don't have some type of connection with nature and the cycles of nature, your life is going to be harder. So what happened with one of the stories, I believe it was the last story that we read, there was a man, and he had been taught to be sure that he did this particular devotion on the full moon every month. And it said in the stories, every month. And you might be thinking, okay, well, that's a lot of pujas. There's the dark moon, there's the waning moon, there's the full moon. Yes, there is. But we need to manage our life every day. And if you're only working on the waxing moon and the full moon to bring things in, if that's working for you, great. But you have to remember that if you don't have things that are being cleared out, like, you've got dust bunnies, so to speak, in your life, then they can cause stagnation. So clearing out emotional blocks, financial blocks, every month is something that will help us grow and move forward so that prosperity stays. Prosperity grows and prosperity stays. So the man in this story had been told, you need to start doing these pujas. Now it starts with the rishis asking a great master, what can we do to help the people who are suffering from, making mistakes, errors, and their life's not in a state of rightness. How can we correct it and help them get their life back into a state of rightness, whatever it is, in Kali Yuga? Now, Kali Yuga is sort of like the age of Aquarius. It's not the age of Aquarius. It's a different age. They call it Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga was really a place where we've had a lot of the stuff that we've been living under that we weren't aware of. It's coming to light. I think we're leaving Kali Yuga. People are not putting up with cruelty, unbelievable, unimaginable cruelty that has been done to humans of all ages. Corruption in government, politics, politicians, all of these things are coming to light. And it's having a little bit of trouble where it's going to be, accepted and fully illuminated. Some people are having rude awakenings, people that they were following and believing in and trusting in, and they're suddenly feeling like fools. Well, they're not. They're learning. They're learning, we're growing, we're having the blinders taken off, the rose-colored glasses are taken off. And part of this is Neptune. It's Neptune's job, whether it's in the collective or it's in your life personally. In your chart, Neptune is there in a particular area to blind you for a particular lesson that you are here to learn. For the collective, it has to do with all of the horrible cruelty and deceit and lies that have been going on a grand scale. And it is starting to get into a state of correctness. There was a tower moment, Uranus has been involved with that. And we are entering a new age. I don't know if we're there yet. Some Indian gurus say that we are. And people are disgusted. They're fed up. A lot of people are not going to be able to continue being deceitful and dishonest and lying and cheating and stealing and so forth and so on. And just, continuing their behavior forever and ever and ever. People are catching on. We're waking up. So the rishis were asking, what can we do during this time of Kali Yuga? And so these rituals were created. One man kept putting it off. Oh, well, I'll do it when I get married. Well, then he spent all his money on the marriage, and he didn't even do the full moon ritual. And then he was asked from time to time, well, are you going to do it now? You're going to have a baby. Oh, well, I'll do it after I have the baby. He didn't do it. The daughter grew up, and then the daughter had to get married. Oh, I got to pay for my daughter's wedding. I'll do it after that. So they kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And then eventually he started losing his health, his business, his money. His life was falling apart. I think he maybe became poor and sick. And so then he went to start doing and acknowledging the cycles of nature and working with the moon again, and working with the moon on this full moon to help or to commune with his avatar of Vishnu, to assist him in knowing how to rebuild his life. This was the remedy. Communing with this avatar of Vishnu, which is just an aspect of us. It's an archetype, okay? It's an aspect of us. We are communing with aspects of ourself with an outside symbol or energy. And this energy does have to do with what's up in the heavens. It does correspond to Jupiter, which is Vishnu. Now, the goddess Lakshmi is there as well. The priest performed an abhishekam, liquid purification bath, over the little tiny murtis of Vishnu and Lakshmi. So the goddess was there. Lakshmi was there. The two of them together, Vishnu and Lakshmi, were involved in bringing in the blessings. So as this man in the story's life began to finally recover and get better in all these different ways over the years, he eventually regained all of his wealth back and his health and being able to provide a good life for his family. And he never again stopped observing the cycles of nature and communing with the full moon. Now, this has a lot to do with our view. The story is not just about ego, and it did say arrogance, this man's arrogance. Well, do I really need that? I'm doing fine. That's ego. Not just procrastination. And it's human nature when we are up against it that we decide maybe there is something greater than us. Maybe there is something else that we can tap into that's non-physical that can assist us because we're limited. No matter how strong we are with our energy, we still have a lot of mundane physical things we have to deal with. And so we have a limit. But the non-physical deities do not. They're not encumbered by the physical plane and the physical body and all this stuff. And so we call on them to assist us. And in rebuilding that communion with nature and our connection to nature, it grows over time and becomes more of a conviction. We see where we are not just a part of nature, we are nature. And this is what Shiva is. Shiva is about all of the elements, including the cosmos. Amazing things have happened to me by getting to this point where I am communing with Shiva. It's not just about mind power. It's coming from our connection to nature and the unification of energies that were created or that we were created out of. But it was finally proven to this man that by doing this on a consistent basis, month after month after month, that eventually he was able to realize the benefit of the connection and slowly but surely regain all of the things that he had lost. And then he appreciated everything even more. So what happens is, okay, so the very end of the story, it said, never forget to give the flowers, the sandalwood, the incense, the oils, the candles, and the rice. So sandalwood is a very precious, integral part of this tradition. And when you want to give your friend a nice present, hopefully you don't want to give them something really cheap or used. You want to give your best. When we come to temple and we bring flowers or fruit or nuts or whatever, when they put up the veil and they perform a ritual to give the energy to the archetype, to the deity, and everything is over, whether we're going to go and eat together or not, everybody receives something. And in the beginning I said, oh no, you don't have to give me anything back. And he said, no, you have, no. Yeah, he said, yes. And so I took it. So it's been a while for me to understand that as I was building my alignment with Shiva, that in giving, we are opening a channel with which to receive. We are only blocked from receiving when we do not give with the spirit of openness or lack. The spirit of, oh no, I'm giving something away, that cannot be present. I'm opening the channel with which to receive. That's what it is. That is the way it works. Whether you want to call it tapping into the field or the unified field or whatever, I have a scientific aspect of looking at it as well. But I also have an emotional aspect of looking at it, because when you do see that it works, for me anyway, I'm incredibly touched. And I have it in my natal chart to be of service anyway. I've had to learn how to receive. And I've had to learn that it should be more mutual a lot of times. And years ago I said I will never be in a one-sided relationship ever again. And when I discovered that I was in one with someone who was pretending to be, being of mutual, showing some mutual return, right, of things that I was giving. If I gave her a ride, she gave me a few dollars. If I gave her a meal, she made me a meal. It actually took me a while to realize that there was some competition and some jealousy there. It wasn't about, I don't want to owe you, because she ended up becoming much more of a taker than a giver, and that's when I finally just cut it off. But that's the way it goes. You have to recognize it, and you have to realize that if you have been trained to be a giver and a people pleaser, that you need to learn how to, when to give and when to receive, right? Don't be offering things out the gate so that people will like you or love you or whatever. And don't become so closed off that, people just are not able to get through to you and ever get any type of help or favor. There's nothing wrong with helping somebody at least once. So this is what this is about, okay? And when you have the spirit of openness, like when I'm aligning to Shiva, I would just say thank you. In the beginning, when I was joining in that communion over at the temple, I didn't know all the words. I didn't know all of the salutations. And the priest asked me one day, what are you thinking when you're pouring on the Shiva Lingam? I said, well, I don't know what else to say except thank you. For me to have the connections that I have had, where Ganesha came to me in a dream, and then I also had a dream about Shiva, was incredibly, at a time in my life when I needed to have the past relieved. And all I could think of was, thank you. And he smiled. Why? Because gratitude is a very, very important catalyst. You're thanking the energies for bringing to you whatever it is that you need in advance. But you're also just plain thanking them for existing and being there for when the time comes that you need to ask for assistance. And that's what this regular communion and alignment is about. So this is a full moon deity that I have come across now in this Hindu tradition. And it was done on a Friday because the full moon was on that day, and it was also May 1st. So it was a good time to set an intention and pray for manifestation of a goal on the full moon. But this tradition has a practice of working also on the waning moon to clear away obstacles so that you can have things really assist you under the waxing and then the full moon. So today is 2 days after the full moon. It is the 3rd. And I realized that I don't want to do business with Etsy. And I said to ChatGPT, well, maybe we should go back to that website we visited and just kind of give me a little showcase place, to start presenting just a few oils, premium oils, and not get carried away. I'm only one person. I can only do so much anyway. Let's make it worthwhile for me to do all of the things that I do to create and make this a reality. And do it in a low-cost way. So ChatGPT was helping me. In the meantime, I do have a shop on Ko-fi, Ko-fi, and when you add anything to your ritual and your sacred space, I did stop and buy flowers. I took flowers. I also took basil, which is sacred to Vishnu, and they were used in giving offerings while the priest was chanting. So we spent an hour and a half building up an energy and an alignment with this deity. Now, you don't have to spend that long every month, but if you just do it for a few minutes every full moon, assuming that you've already acknowledged the waning moon, okay? And the Ganesha oil is designed for that. When you put that on yourself, maybe you play a singing bowl, maybe you meditate, or just put it on you before you leave the house. It magnifies your intentions. The oil is there with the intentions in it, and the intentions I've put into it. Thank you, Ganesha, for helping me clear away obstacles. We don't always know what obstacles are really preventing us from either healing or prospering. We don't yet really have the greatest perception of how we need to maybe really tighten our belt for a month or two so that we can save $1,000, things like that. And in that way, it's like Saturn. Saturn constricts, but Saturn also gives rewards. In the meantime, you should be rewarding yourself in small ways, okay? And not just sacrificing. That's not healthy. So I guess that's it for tonight. I hope that you have understood what I'm trying to say about at least trying to work more with the moon if you haven't. It is an integral part of nature-based, goddess-based spiritual practices. It moves a lot faster than the planets. The planets can take years before they move out of a sign. The moon goes through a sign every 2 to 3 days, and in this way we have a chance. And now the moon was just, the full moon was in Scorpio. You know what? Scorpio, I have worked with Scorpio, and Scorpio will reveal the truth. So maybe you've had a truth come about. In that case, the full moon was there assisting, moving that along. So please check out my Ko-fi page, Ko-fi. I'm working on getting the second oil, Love Potion number 1, created that's going to assist in gently bringing friends. It's a very gentle attraction for having people see you and having you yourself actually feel like you're in a way that you're going to be receiving people genuinely, or it's just a gentle influence is what it is. It's not a hard pull. It's not anything like that. And self-love is also a very, very necessary thing. Being our own best friend, if nothing else. And so when that is finished, and you can pre-order, okay? It's set up on my coffee page. You can pre-order. Wow, I'm at 50 minutes. My goodness. Chatty Cathy today. I felt it was important to share this with you. If and when I get my Patreon up and running, I will be having over at the Patreon, because memberships are not really happening over on Ko-Fi for me. There's a lot of spiritual people on Patreon. I'm going to have what's called voice notes and spiritual revelations. And this is where I'll be sharing more and more about the things I'm learning of this ancient tradition and demystifying it, as well as explaining the energies that we can tap into. Ganesha is for everyone. That's the truth. And like I've said, it's very powerful. Elephants clear paths. And the elephant head, is because the elephants have the biggest hippocampus of, I believe, any creature on the planet. And in order for us to get more balanced, we have to clear away the cobwebs in our mind and get the hippocampus back to normal size and shrink the amygdala. The hippocampus shrinks with stress. If nothing else, you can work with Ganesha just to help you learn how to manage stress. And this is like meditation, mindful meditation, positive affirmations times 10, because you're working with this powerful ancient energy. And if you can learn a few mantras, the science behind the mantras is amazing. It is a science, the science of sound. All right. That's it for today. And as always, you can just watch part of this video and then come back later and watch it again. Please comment, please ask questions, maybe start a discussion over there on community posts. When I make a community post, I think you can actually start a discussion on any one of my videos, which is kind of scary. Some of them, I from time to time I go in and I delete videos, but for the most part, I've got a variety of videos that are there that I think are healthy for anybody who wants to explore different ways of connecting to the earth. I have been putting dirt in my pots and planting seeds. That's another aspect of working with nature. And let me know what you're doing. And namaste, blessed be. Until next time.